Camaro update. I'm not really doing these videos in any particular order, but got the frame rail plug welded in, ground down. A lot of booger welds, but I've been talking with guys that essentially been there, done that, and they're telling me what I'm doing wrong is essentially I should just take the plug weld, aim the gun, and just go nuts. Just aim for the center. Aim for the center and essentially just what the fuck is with this? There we go. So, their advice is aim the gun for the center of the plug, fill it, and let it go, and just let it fill. Aim for the center, pull the trigger, let it fill. So, something I've learned with these, I want to pass on to other guys that are trying to do this, is if you want your spot weld drill to last, about 300 to 500 RPMs is going to do it. You go with 1,000 to 1,500, you're just cooking them. Low and slow, just like barbecue. And of course, makes more sense to drill your plug weld holes ahead of time, but you don't always get every spot you want. And I'm probably over welding, but again, I live in Milwaukee. I mean, our potholes are like the size of pretty much craters you'll see in Iraq. So it's nothing nice. So long and short of it, I go low, slow, let the thing cook, be patient, and your spot weld drills are going to last. The bits are going to last. You go high speed, just cook some. So other advice I got was keep the panels really nice and tight, and that will allow you to have good spot welds. So I ultimately wanted to go with all factory style plug welds, but I talked to guys, they said, look, you just try to get it in nice and tight. Didn't always happen, but ultimately went ahead and started doing the I guess seam weld, I don't know what you want to call it. I guess, like I said, you always want to make it look as factory as possible, but ultimately I don't want the back half of this car to fall off while I'm in the middle of driving down some of the Iraq-like infrastructure that we have because of snow plows and such. So yeah, I just went ahead and bit the bullet, took advice from people that know better than I do, and went ahead and did that. So yeah, and I got this was another thing. This was pretty ucky. A lot of my friends came by and laughed. They're like, dude, this isn't gonna happen. But hey, look, drill out the spot welds, you know, treat the rust with some rust inhibitor, rust encapsulator. Eastwood makes it. And yeah, Eastwood's been great. They've taken care of any warranty claims I've had, just minor stuff, but hey, they've been more than accommodating. And yeah, like I said, they backed their product, so I'm really happy with the welder. I'm really happy with the products, and yeah, we're gonna keep going. This is said, it's not about the destination, it's the journey, right? Just gotta keep going. Check your measurements, get your panels nice and tight, and you know, there's some people that are good welders, and then there's people that are good at grinding, and I'm probably the latter. But you know, you've just got to keep positive. You got to just keep going. And yeah, ultimately, another guy I talked to, which I think is kind of nuts, but he uses Flex Seal for his seam sealant, and don't know if I'm going to go that route, but yeah, this is what we're looking at. The side I've not welded at all, got it just kind of in place, been beating the panels. I want to get these panels tighter, nice and tight, put my plug welds on, and then I'm going to weld the other areas where needed. So it's never too far gone. You just, like I said, keep plugging away. And my son, I got a 14-year-old son, luckily he told me to hold the camera horizontal. Dad, you're holding it wrong. So hopefully this is a little better video. And hopefully next update, maybe have the frame rails all welded in. And again, this is pretty much a before. A lot of screws, a lot of banging, a lot of pounding. And then ultimately I hope to get them all nice and smooth and good to go. Another thing that's kind of a mystery to me, and maybe this stuff moved, I don't know, maybe it moved dramatically, but essentially this is going to have to come way back down to be at essentially where it was factory. So maybe I needed more structure in there, I don't know, maybe more bracing, but ultimately this is going to have to come down to match where it came off on the other wheelhouse, which I'm not finding to show you at this point. So another thing I found is I didn't find anything on the cowl tag that would indicate that it was a vinyl roof car. I assumed because the roof, you know, the metal looks pretty darn good for a vinyl roof car. I mean, if it did indeed have a vinyl roof. But I found these little rivets, and I found they kind of go exactly where you'd have a vinyl top. And then also found some ucky spots on here that were essentially signs that probably did have a vinyl top, where up here is a little pitting, whereas you go down here and it's pretty smooth. So this probably had a vinyl top. Don't know if it was factory, added by the dealer. There's no indication on the cowl tag. I'm not putting it back on. I mean, no offense to people who like vinyl tops, but I just feel like they look really ridiculous on a Camaro. So that's where we're going to fall off on that. Some areas, like I said, this is going to have to come out. I'm not going to put up with that. I'm going to have to take that out. But it's always a fine line. How far do you want to go? Do you want to rip the entire car apart? Or do you want to just treat the rust and know that there's some areas that are going to be... It's a 50-year-old car. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be rust-free at any time. I've seen guys just kind of just tear into every little piece, and before you know it, you don't even have a car left. So it's a fine line. You just got to make that choice. How far do you want to go? Obviously, I made the choice with these rails, and it was confirmed. Talking with other guys, other auto body specialists, they said, yeah, those rails had to go. Whereas you have certain areas that look really good metal, and then you have areas that very suspect. And I cut out the trunk in the intentions of saving the rails, and that was just not a possibility when I got that far. But that's where we're at with it. Get these rails put in, get the trunk part put back in. Got my lovely compressor I borrowed from a friend. If you're gonna do sandblasting, you gotta have a high SCFM. This particular one is a 10.2 SCFM at 90 psi, and yeah, stuff turned out nice. Gotta get some of the... So Eastwood. Said getting the job done. Do the job right. There it is.